On the evening of January 29, 2025, American Eagle Flight 5342 on final approach into Reagan National Airport was run into by a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River, leaving 67 people dead. This mid-air collision, unfortunately, was no accident, and I will show you how, using gematria, the secret language of the cabal. The last fatal accident involving a plane from this airport was in 1982, 43 years ago, when Air Florida Flight 90 crashed into the 14th Street Bridge just after takeoff in icy conditions. Florida, plane crash, and DC all equal 43, the 14th prime number. Minutes before landing, the American Eagle flight was told by air traffic control to land on runway 33. This meant that the pilots had to reposition the plane towards the east side of the river, towards the flight path of the helicopter, so it could make that approach. The main sports star in Washington right now is Alex Ovechkin, whose name equals 129. America also equals 129 in the Jewish cipher. Obviously, this crash was on 1/29 and was exactly 33 weeks before Ovechkin's birthday. 33 is a huge number in Washington, D.C., and I'll play a clip from a video I made 2 years ago on the Capitals. 33 Northwest 16th Street. We'll touch on the importance of 17 and 33 later on. They were unfortunately swept by the Red Wings, with the score of Game 4 being 4-1. The Caps were outscored 13-7 across the series. Washington, D.C. equals 137, the 33rd prime. I mentioned earlier that if you're new to gematria, 47 might be the most important number. Well, if there's any number that's more important, it's 33. Masonry, order, secrecy, society, people, person, and police all equal 33, and there are 33 vertebrae in our spine. Furthermore, the finals ended on 139 date numerology, like Freemasonry, and 49 date numerology, like Washington. Ronald Reagan, the airport's namesake, was the 33rd governor of California. The aforementioned Air Florida crash took place when Reagan was the president. The American Eagle flight took off from Wichita, whose airport is named after Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th president of the United States. Wichita is in Kansas, and the Kansas City Chiefs are about to play in the Super Bowl. Their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, has the same birthday as Alex Ovechkin. That day just so happens to be Constitution Day, the day in history when the Constitution was signed in Philadelphia, whom the Chiefs are about to play in the Super Bowl. More on that city later. For those of you who don't know, Philadelphia used to be the capital of the United States before it moved to Washington. However, the Constitution was not made effective until March 4th, or 3/4. Mahomes equals 34, and last year he won the Super Bowl on his 34th completion. 6 years earlier, in the same city, Alex Ovechkin won his only Stanley Cup in a series which featured 34 total goals scored. Ovechkin was also 34 years old when Mahomes won his first Super Bowl. Ovechkin scored the next day to make the score of the game 3-4. The Jesuits were founded in 1534. America and Freemasonry both equal 139, the 34th prime. Potomac also equals 34. A few days earlier, the Chiefs and Eagles won their respective conference championship games to advance to the Super Bowl. This came on the 5-year anniversary of the death of Philadelphia native Kobe Bryant in a helicopter crash. The Eagles' Twitter account controversially posted a tweet of a helicopter just before kickoff. The Eagles defeated the team from Washington, and the Chiefs won their game with 61 combined points. Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. both equal 61. As for the Black Hawk helicopter, it's named after the Native American chief Black Hawk. Don't you think it's ironic that it collided with an American Eagle plane just before the Chiefs and the Eagles are about to meet in the Super Bowl? The Chicago Blackhawks hockey team are also named after said native chief. The Washington Capitals' first ever franchise win was against the Blackhawks by the score of 4-3, and their alternate logo is an eagle. In fact, the Blackhawks defeated the Capitals exactly 43 days before the plane crash on Pope Francis's birthday. This reminds us that Washington, D.C. was originally called Rome, founded by a man named Francis Pope. Of course, the Pope resides in the Vatican, right next to Rome.
Anyways, 67 people perished in the collision, the 19th prime, and Ovechkin is now 19 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record. Ovechkin's only Stanley Cup came on 6/7, and George Washington died at age 67. Capital One Arena, where the Capitals play and where the presidential inauguration was held this year, is located between 6th and 7th and F and G streets, when F and G are the 6th and 7th letters respectively. Hockey equals 67, and Washington Capitals equals 76, the year our country was founded. Gretzky's birthday is the same day as Kobe Bryant's death date. Many of the passengers on the flight were figure skaters, returning from the U.S. Figure Skating Championships the weekend before. Some of those members were Russian, just like Ovechkin. Some skaters were also from Boston, where Ovechkin broke Gretzky's empty net goal record last year, the day before last year's Super Bowl. To add on to some more Philadelphia connections, Ovechkin's first ever playoff series was against Philadelphia, losing 4-3. A week before that, he clinched his first ever playoff berth against Florida, with the Capitals getting their 43rd win of the season. That was 201 days after his birthday, and 129 is 201 in base 8. I can't say for sure how this collision was manipulated, but many have pointed out that helicopters are restricted to 200 feet in that area, and this helicopter was flying at 300 feet. Others have also pointed out that it's possible to remotely control a Black Hawk helicopter from miles away. For those of you who have watched the TV series 24, this might seem familiar. In Season 7, which took place in Washington, D.C., the terrorists are able to take over air traffic control to make two planes crash into each other. In this season, the terrorists are from a fictional African country. This isn't too far off from the fact that the movie Black Hawk Down, which came out a few months after 9/11, takes place in Somalia. And look, now we just happen to be bombing Somalia. Speaking of 9/11, remember Flight 77 hit the 77-foot-tall Pentagon not too far from the collision site on the 77th meridian 77 minutes after taking off at 777 feet per second. Going forward, Flight 5342 will be renumbered 5677, reminding us that Washington, D.C. equals 56, and the no-fly zone over the city is called P56. Also, the flight numbers of the 3 flights that hit targets on 9/11 add up to 263, the 56th prime, and it was 26 weeks and 3 days after Osama's birthday. To me, 5677 sounds like a fateful flight number, and I would advise anyone to avoid that flight if possible. 2 days later, a Learjet 55 en route from Philadelphia to Missouri, where the Chiefs play, crashed shortly after takeoff. On Sunday, the Eagles advanced to the Super Bowl by winning with 55 points. This upcoming Super Bowl will be the 55th of the modern era. Satan equals 55. Remember, last year, San Francisco 49ers kicker Jake Moody set an at-the-time Super Bowl record 55-yard field goal when the Church of Satan was founded in San Francisco. The current Missouri governor was born in 55 and has the same birthday as Patrick Mahomes. I mentioned earlier how his birthday is on Constitution Day, the day leaving 105 days left in the year. This upcoming Super Bowl will conclude the 105th NFL season. Constitution Day can be written as 17/9, and 179 is the 41st prime number. The Constitution opens with the phrase, "We the people," which equals 41. This crash took place exactly 41 weeks after the anniversary of the debut of the Learjet 55. If the Chiefs defeat the Eagles on Sunday, then Mahomes will become 4-1 in Super Bowls.